What's up, everybody? Aaron the Dog here with Brandon of MMA
Technical
Wagers.
difficulties to start off.
Yeah, we're starting a little delayed there. Sorry if anybody was waiting. That was my mistake. But we are here for the LFA 107 breakdown show, the only LFA show on the YouTubes, only full LFA show. Really the only one doing it for whatever reason right now. But either way,
we're going to make the big time soon, buddy. We'll be breaking it down on what's the LFA on? They're on Fight Pass, so
yeah, we're on Fight Pass.
Maybe get a Fight Pass invitation.
Absolutely, we're available anytime. Fight Pass that you want to get us started, but we are here. Yeah, we are here with the LFA 107 breakdown show. This is going to be headlined by Kamuela Kirk of the Contender Series, also Daniel Swain of formerly of the Contender Series. Kamuela Kirk. Also an LFA veteran at this point. But yeah, I think it should be a very exciting fight. He's known as the Jawaian. So
the Jawaian, the Jamaican, yeah.
The Jawaian. But we'll be talking about
different backgrounds.
Right, but we'll be talking about that soon. But until then, the split screen is back this week.
You're a wizard at this now. You're a wizard, Harry.
He's a wizard, Harry. So as of now, there are 7
both
fights.
Have our dogs too. It's a good showing. I got
absolutely.
mine. You got yours on the left side of you.
Yep, that's Murphy.
This is Luna.
One of my dogs.
Luna's gonna give the dog picks. Luna gives a lot of good dog picks.
Yeah,
and she's got our Lucky Luna licks. We call it Lucky Luna licks.
Indeed. But we got 7 fights to break down. Odds just came out last night. So still plenty of time before these get steamed, and there are some closer fights on this LFA card for sure. So you don't see too many crazy odds. So there definitely are some potential to make some money. So I don't know about you, but I'm ready to jump into this fight card. It's been a hectic start here. We're trying to get this all wrapped up, and then we will be live with Brendan Lounghane around 4:30 Eastern time.
5 p.m. San Diego time.
5 p.m. San Diego time would be 8 p.m. our time.
What? Or sorry, 5 p.m. our time, 2 p.m. 2 p.m. San Diego time.
Great. I wish I would have known that before I made the videos, because you told me 4:30.
Yeah, he told me last second he's going to be half an hour later than what I said.
Oh, okay.
30 minutes later than what I said.
All good. We will adjust. Great thing to talk about on air. Almost as good as relationship status. Brandon of MMA Wagers is never short on words on, things both inside and outside of MMA.
Man, so, I got an outside life too. I got to work and I got family. It was Mother's Day.
It's like one of us is trying to start each fight and write down the timestamp, and each time they get ready to start it, the other person talks over them, so they have to erase the time and rewrite the time. So are we ready to maybe get into our first fight of the night?
Let's get it going.
Sweet. I'll write 4 minutes for the timestamp here. And
Alan Begosso.
Yeah, unless you'd like to take over timestamps, and then you can by all means talk the whole time as I try to tee up the fights.
No, thank you. No, thank you. We can talk about this another time, but you're great at it. We've had no issues with Aaron doing the timestamps. When I do them, I have no success.
They don't show up.
So, Aaron,
you're the man. Don't show up.
When they do the man, okay? I'm not discrediting that. Aaron is he does 75% of this. I just jump in to chime in.
Exactly, and I will be the only one offering up my picks also, just moving forward so everybody knows. But this fight is at 135. It's between Alan Begosso and Luciano Ramos. Luciano El Aguila Ramos is a salty 6-5 out of Buenos Aires. He is 5'7". That's all the information I have on him. He did fight at bantamweight on a 2-fight win streak. Known as a boxer. Don't know how old he is exactly. He did fight in a boxing bout in his last bout where he lost by decision, and that was on May 7th. So should be in good shape. His last win was in LFA. It was over Kendrick Latchman, who definitely has a notable name, but his record also 8-6. Not exactly stellar there, but 2-fight MMA win streak, has an arm triangle choke over a 0-0 guy, has an armbar victory, typically wins via submission. But he also has a few losses, some coming by submission himself, armbar and rear naked choke, as well as a few decisions. Alan Begosso, the Team Alpha Male product, Team Alpha Male trying to find, I feel like, that next little batch of talent, and we'll see. But 5'4", 25-year-old bantamweight, so very, very short, stocky. Fighting out of Sacramento. He's on a 6-fight unbeaten streak. He's got a few KO finishes as well as a few submissions, one guillotine and one heel hook, as well as a rear naked choke in his one amateur fight. I just think that this is one that Alan Begosso is being set up to come in and kind of showcase his skills. And I couldn't find a lot on Mr. Ramos, but what I was able to find based on his kind of competition he's faced and overall the types of fighters he's had trouble with, I think Begosso can kind of fit into that. Begosso should get his first professional rear naked choke victory if I had to choose specifically, but I'll say submission. I'd say round 1, 2.
Yeah, both these guys are making their what is it, sophomore? If you're making your second fight, is that sophomore?
Yeah, sophomore.
Yeah, they're both making their sophomore debuts here. They both won 1-0. So they're in good hands with the LFA right now. Somebody's O's got to go here, unless we get a no contest or a draw. We see those too sometimes. So we got the Argentina, South American. He's on what? Is he on a win streak here? He's got 2 wins in a row. His last defeat was to Juan da Silva by unanimous decision. You've never been able to bet on him. There's no odds available. Even that 1-0 LFA fight, I couldn't find odds. But the same goes for his counterpart, Alan Begosso. You could never bet on him either. So both these guys are in the spotlight here. They've never had this much spotlight. I'm surprised he's got a Canadian flag in the background. It's got no evidence of him having a Canadian background, but
possible fake Canadian.
Yeah. Maybe he just trains at a gym with like multiple flags and they support everybody.
Yeah.
But yeah, Alan Begosso, it definitely looks like this is a setup match, like Aaron said, 5-0. But Luciano Ramos, even though it's a salty record, the names have been okay, like not the best. He's lost by 3 submissions. Alan's submission, well, he's got 2 submissions. So, yeah, they're both the same age. It's LFA. Luciano obviously has the more experience at a high level.
Mm-hmm.
And, this Alan Begosso does look very good for 5-0. Like it's hard to deny him. And he comes from Team Alpha Male. So Luciano, though, an Argentina with nothing to lose, South American, he's definitely got a good chance too.
Yeah, I think that the odds are way off here. It is a dogger pass when I look at the odds for sure. Minus 500 on Begosso. It's just he's untested. Minus 500. He's going to have a reach disadvantage for sure in this fight. He typically gets a finish, so there's questions on maybe when things get pushed a little bit. There was no tape on the draw, so I don't exactly know the story with that either. But, I mean, he's fought to a draw, so that kind of lets me know maybe he starts a little bit hot. And maybe, but again, I wasn't able to see the fight, so I don't know what happened.
And this was also a short notice fight. I think both these competitors only had 8 to 10 days to maybe compete, even less than that. So it's a very, up in the air.
I'm not risking -500 on it. Plus 375 on Mr. Ramos, I think, is the only option if you're going to gamble on this fight and bet it. Otherwise, just pass. But dog or pass.
We've beaten the what's that expression called? We beat the horse down or something. We beat this down a lot, but wait till the weigh-in photos.
Yeah, beating a dead horse.
Beating a dead horse. Yeah, we beat it down so many times, but it's always good to remind people.
So this next fight is kind of difficult to break down. It's between 2 0-0 fighters in Taylor Maldon, Maldon, and Ambar de la Haran.
Too many names there. Amber de la Haran, like 4. We have to type in 4 different.
Yeah, I mean, they will at least make it easy to find her once she starts the fight. They're both 5'2". They both fight out of California. One has 2 amateur fights. The other has 1. Ambar de la Haran is the one with the 2 amateur bouts. She went 1-1 as an amateur, going to a decision in both bouts. Lost to a girl with a 0-1 record in LFA as an amateur back in 2018. And then she beat a girl with 0-0. Mary Mario is who she lost to. Mary has not become a pro yet, but did go 4-2 as a amateur. So there's that. I mean, there's just, I don't know what I can really go on here. There was no tape available for Ambar. I just see she's 1-1. Taylor Maldon appears to be a younger fighter. I don't see an age though. Fighting on Millennia MMA. Don't know what that camp is. Got a 38-second submission win in 2017 over a girl who was 0-4, and she didn't fight again.
Did you say you don't know Millennia MMA?
I'm not as familiar with Millennia.
That's Lorenz Larkin's camp. Okay.
So I'll just take a look at that since we'll fill in this breakdown with something. First of all, there's the number for Millennia. It's 900-989-9044. So that's good.
Right on Tapology. Giving us a percentage of these calls.
These are very good names, but none of them are men. So I don't know who she's training with of these people. So
not a lot of women fighters on there.
None. And as a matter of fact, Tatiana Suarez is on here.
Oh, wow. Really?
So if she's been rolling with her for the last few years, and Carissa Sigla, who just, if you know her, she fought Taylor Starling.
Maybe? Or LFA?
She fought Taylor Starling in BKFC in one of the best fights. Good to see you, Bunny. Thanks for joining us. Brandon says hello.
Let's get it going. Let's get this fight. This is
so yeah. What are your thoughts? I would assume that the Millennia. I would assume the Millennia grappling product in Taylor has the advantage, but I have no clue. So I'll say Taylor by submission, just because that she's shown she can do that. Training with girls like Tatiana Suarez, working on her hands, hopefully with Clarissa Sigla. Seems like she's got a good camp, better camp. Seems she's got both her hands up while her opponent has a selfie for her Tapology picture. I'm not sure what else I can really say here. What are your thoughts on this fight?
That's actually Cub Swanson's camp with Amber de la Haran. That's a true MMA. Cub Swanson and his brother actually
so two good camps.
Own that camp. So she's in very good hands here. I don't know why Cub isn't really promoting this fight. But he's got his own things going on, obviously.
He kind of just lost pretty badly.
And he also, that was rough to watch. Mm-hmm. He got that kick to the liver. But Taylor Maldon is a Millennium MMA fighter. Like we said, there's a very small sample size on these women. They're both making their MMA debuts, I believe.
Correct. pro MMA debuts. They both have amateur experience of 1 and 2, but yeah.
And that's
there's just not much that can be said on here. Like, you can try to fill in a little more, but like, there's literally nothing to go on here. There's a 38-second fight by Taylor 4 years ago.
I don't make my official picks. Like, it's rare that I'll make an official pick before the weigh-ins because, that's the most.
Well, not to mention, you offer your betting services, so offering your picks for free isn't exactly something you're looking to do.
Yeah, exactly. And 24 hours before the fight is the best image you're going to see of that person on the weigh-ins before the fight happens, literally less than a day before. And you can really examine a lot by weigh-ins. So I take that into a huge consideration.
Definitely true.
Especially for these low-level fights.
Definitely true. Next fight is a battle of Chuck Norris's on Tapology.
What the hell is this? With Uzi.
Anytime they don't have pictures. With Tapology, anytime they don't have pictures, they just do the dual Uzi Chuck Norris pictures. So
I wasn't even aware of that.
So we have two. We have two Chuck Norrises in this one.
It's either that or the Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Yeah, we have Daniel Jefferson taking on Jeff Wilson. So not only that, we have two very plain names here. I wasn't able to find any tape on either one of these guys. 2-2. He has lost to the combined record of his opponents is 4-2 all together. He's been to a decision in all 4 of his fights. He's lost 2. He's won 2. Had a majority decision in his last fight. That's pretty much all I know. He fought in August of 2020. He had a decent amateur career, pretty extensive amateur career, actually. Had some wins and losses there, so you like to see that. But it seems he kind of wins a couple, loses a couple. James Wilson, 27, 5'9", fighting at Kings MMA, so that's a better camp. 3-0 as a pro. Hasn't fought since December of 2019. 2 quick KOs and 1 quick submission. Also has a quick submission as an amateur. The best guy he's ever fought. It's arguable. I guess you could say his debut against a 4-12 guy or the 0-0 guy the 0-0 guys he's beaten. At this point, I'll go with Kings MMA. Definitely going to have to see the weigh-ins and see some sort of footage of either one of these guys before I really make much more of a pick than that. But that's all we got to go on here. Literally no footage on Fight Pass, Fight TV, YouTube. I checked Vimeo, like nothing. And their names are James Wilson and Daniel Jefferson.
Yeah,
so,
there's
sorry.
so many
I know that's not a great breakdown.
In that atmosphere.
What you say?
There's so many common names in that sphere. Like, there's probably like 10 James Wilsons that fight in fucking MMA.
And by the way, Taylor Maldon is a -300 favorite over Amber de la Haran at +240. So just wanted to mention that real quick. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. And,
this fight is so low level. Like, we have no idea where these guys fit into the category of like bottom of the barrel, mid caliber, or they have a chance at potentially fighting for a championship.
Yeah. So do you have any like real thoughts on this? What's up, Kevin? You finally made it here. Mr. Weeks is here. What a compliment here. The best LFA breakdown show in the world. We might be the only one.
I'm putting 2 thumbs up. We don't have a lot of competition, but I'll take it.
We might be the only one, but I like this phrasing way more. The best? Well, we're going to go with that instead, the only one from here on out.
That's like saying Amanda Nunes is the best in featherweight UFC because there's like 4 other fighters in that division.
Kayla Harrison, the best 155er.
I'll take it.
Woman. Like, again, we are the Kayla Harrison of LFA breakdowns here.
We'll judo throw you in 1 round and ground and pound you.
Yeah. So I'll go with James Wilson based on Kings MMA.
It looks like he's the promising prospect. I'm not going to count either of these guys out. And yet the weigh-in photos are always a very important factor. Hit up MMA Wagers. I'll have the weigh-in photos uploaded tomorrow.
Always.
Yeah, always. And I know it might take a little bit because LFA is kind of lazy. I don't know if it's laziness or just time management is off, but they take until like 9 p.m. Eastern time to get LFA photos actually put out.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'll have them out, and yeah, we'll go from there.
Yeah. So, do you know what rank James Wilson is for lightweights in the United States?
If I had to guess, James Wilson.
Yes, number 449th ranked lightweight in the United States.
That's the picture that it gave me. It didn't give me the friggin' Chuck Norris with the mini Uzis. It gave me a number 449. So
versus the number 150 lightweight in the Midwest, not in the. So
yeah,
those are some wild people. Those are some wild rankings right there. It's like not 448, 449, 2-2 with no.
The prospect obviously looks like James Wilson though at King's MMA, but like it's low level MMA.
400 odds.
What are the odds? Sorry.
Minus 400 for James Wilson, plus 300 for.
What is LFA doing to us here? That's like a minus 200 at least.
Yeah, this is a weird card.
But at the same time, what's his name? Giga came up through Gladiator Challenge, and I think he's can find
number 2 exceptional throughout. But we'll move on to another fight here. Yep. This fight has much more footage on it. I think
we got Felicia Spencer all day.
Yeah,
I'll be right back. Okay, man.
Yeah, sure. This fight is a much more interesting fight here, and we actually have some footage to go on at heavyweight between Jordan Heiderman, 3-0 Nebraska wrestling prospect, and Anthony Garrett. Anthony Garrett, I've been able to find quite a bit of tape on him for one, so that was very interesting to watch. 31 years old now, 6'5", 80-inch reach, comes in right at that limit of 265. Gas tank, a little bit questionable. First of all, most of his wins coming in round 1 or right at the beginning of round 2. He has a win over J.W. Kaiser, who gave Jake Hager a good run of his money. Jake Hager and him did fight, and he claimed knees to the groin and ended up being declared a no contest, but looked like. And then he had a quick finish against Matt Uday, who was 3-6 coming out of Bellator. Got knocked out in 19 seconds. Also got knocked out as an amateur in 8 seconds. So definitely can be knocked out pretty quickly, and has a little bit of gas issues. We saw first and foremost those gas issues in the Jordan Mitchell fight, which is available on YouTube. And it says that he lost by punches in round 2. If you watch the fight, first of all, Jordan Mitchell is 6'11", very overweight, short, heavyweight. If you watch that fight, there's kind of a back and forth first round. It's a really good first round, frankly. Anthony Garrett is dominating the second round, but there is less than nothing on his punches. And then the ref stops to kind of separate them. And Anthony Garrett goes onto his back and refuses to get up. Literally punches himself out. So on Tapology, it says a second round TKO due to punches. He punched himself out. He just doesn't have gas after that first round. Does have good size, but that's pretty much it. He comes in at the 265 limit, though, and Jordan Heiderman does not. Jordan Heiderman comes in around 239 pounds, so he's definitely that cruiserweight type of limit. You look at him, he's not a big heavyweight. He's definitely one of the slimmer heavyweights here, does rely on his wrestling at times and his submission game. So he does have a quick knockout in his debut, but had a split win over a 1-0 guy. Then he beat a 4-0 guy in Marcio Blanco, who I'm not too familiar with. He does have a win over David Ramirez also, who knocked out Anthony Garrett. Blanco has not fought since Heiderman fought him back in November of 2020. This is just another one that, it appears that it's for Heiderman, but Anthony Garrett has fought some decent competition. He's a really good size. He's going to have 20 to 25 pounds on Heiderman. And also, if you look at Garrett, he really came into MMA a lot more overweight and seems to be getting into much better shape as he's getting later into his career. If you look at the J.W. Kaiser fight particularly, where he was able to get out from the bottom, establish top control, and then end up getting the submission, that was a really good performance and good sign for me. 2-fight win streak for Garrett. I'm leaning towards Garrett, frankly. I think that Heiderman had struggled with a 1-0 guy in that split decision win. He's pretty undersized for this division. And I get he's on a 9-fight win streak between pro and amateurs, so maybe I look really bad here. But I do think Garrett has some really good tools in the stand-up game, especially that 80-inch reach. He can keep his opponent at bay after the first round, though. This is all Heiderman. So I do think Garrett needs to catch him in the first round really to win. Unless he's really continued to improve that gas tank condition-wise, he looks better. But I'm leaning towards Garrett, but we'll see. I mean, Heiderman is the favorite, but I got to find some dogs at some point that I feel good with. This is another heavyweight dog here. I think that could really come in Garrett.
Yeah, I think we saw Bubba a few weeks ago cash as an underdog against I'm blanking on his name, but I think he's the right-handed Crow Cop, and Bubba came through as a big underdog. So yeah, this is low-level MMA heavyweights, especially
talking about Trevor Wallace.
MMA heavyweights is
We're talking about Trevor Wallace. Sorry,
Trevor Wallace. Yeah, the right-handed Crow Cop, which did not work out for him that night.
No.
Yeah, this is Anthony Garrett's fighting. He fought J.W. Kaiser, who was also a competitor against Jake Hager. So that was like the battle of the people that lost to Jake Hager, but Anthony Garrett actually didn't really lose to Jake.
He was giving him a good fight in his first 2 minutes,
fighter.
Too. He was giving him a good fight, and he was giving him a good fight up until the stoppage.
Yeah, it actually looked like Anthony Garrett was going to win as a plus 560 underdog.
I agree.
I'm not saying Jake's a quitter or anything, but it's a totally different game when you come into MMA from a WWE fighter. Jordan Heiderman, I don't know much about. I don't think he's ever fought in LFA. Or sorry, he's 2-0 in LFA.
Yeah.
I did watch that Mauricio Blanco fight. Like you said, he's one of the smaller heavyweights. He can cause a lot of problems for guys if he can get out of that first round. But it's just this is a very tough fight to call, and either way, don't invest too much on either side.
Yeah, I do think you make a really good point. First of all, Anthony Garrett, with each fight, you want to watch the weigh-ins because his body is in different conditions each time he weighs in. Some, he looks very bloated and big. Others, he looks nice and trimmed and ready to go. And
Screen looked like the best shape of his life, but it was just unfortunate because he had an opponent that was that had to cut down, I believe, to 265, which was not the best game plan for
I think the route for Jordan is really to be smart and cautious in round one. Really avoid Anthony at his most dangerous. After round one, Jordan Heiderman's gas and cardio should make it all the difference. Again, if Anthony comes in looking really sharp, his plus 240 price looks really good, minus 300 for Jordan.
And let's just throw out the teams they train with. Anthony Garrett is with Title Boxing Club I've never heard of. And I actually don't know Jordan Heiderman's training camp.
I just know he's out of Nebraska, so I'm not sure if he's
Smith, maybe?
Possibly. You know what? I do think possibly, but I don't know for sure.
Okay.
But either way,
Instagram is a very good source. Hit up Jordan Heiderman on Instagram, and he probably has a few pictures of him training or with his crew. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. But this is one I want to stay tuned. I'm going to keep a close eye on this one on weigh-ins because I do think this is one of the dogs I particularly like on this card. So we will have to see. But I'm good.
MMA Junkies George Garcia is fighting this weekend.
Yeah.
Have you heard of MMA Junkies George Garcia? Gorgeous George.
Yeah, Gorgeous George. The
he
stash.
Even took his nickname.
The stash at MMA. George Garcia, 9-4, taking on Ricardo Diaz at also 9-4. I love I like matchmaking when they match them up by like proper experience and record and everything like that. Size wise, there's a slight difference because George Garcia is just one of these very small, short bantamweights.
That was like Neil Magny versus Jeff Neal last week. Sorry. I got to throw that out there with the matchmaking. You're saying it's very close. Neil Magny, Jeff Neal. It was like a hair difference in like the competitiveness in the
it was another really close fight. This really one is fight. Between the number 2 bantamweight in California, George Garcia, fighting on Black House MMA, as well as Seikasan Muay Thai and 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu. So really good camps. They're taking on a King's MMA product and the fellow 30-year-old Ricardo Diaz. These guys are just at very similar points in their career. They've fought very similar levels of competition. I'll start with Ricardo Diaz, the lesser known. At 30 years old, he is 5'8", out of King's MMA. As I said, 2-fight win streak currently, although those wins coming to 4-5 Woo Jae Kim. But the other one coming by split decision to Desmond Torres, who fought Steven Garcia on the Contender Series. He got finished by Steven Garcia. Came back, had a really close fight in LFA on the Brantmore Joe Giannetti card back in August of 2018. In Diaz's career, he has been finished twice by submission, by an ankle lock and a rear naked choke. The rear naked choke coming to probably his best level of competition in Jafel Filo, who was 6-1 at the time he took him on. Other than that, I have some wins that I don't know how they came by. A few rear naked chokes for him as well. George Garcia, the shorter guy at 5'5", pretty used to that at this point. Gorgeous George, also 30 years old. As I said, is coming off a loss over an M1 to 7-3 Bayer Shepton. It came by a decision. Before that, he beat a 10-1 Yuri Kokbuka. He beat Willie Gates, a very well-known amateur or regional guy. I don't think he fought in the UFC.
UFC staple.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Yeah, he did.
I don't remember. I couldn't remember if he did back in the day.
I think he fought Ray Borg. He fought a couple of guys in UFC.
He never won.
And isn't there another UFC competitor that? Yeah, Chris Beal, another UFC competitor.
Right. I was getting there. It's almost like I was working. It's almost like I was working through his record. Chris Beal, however, if we look at Chris Beal's record, have you seen how Chris Beal's been doing since he left the UFC? He hasn't won.
That's like Donnie's.
But he lost to Alfred Kazakian, who we know quite a bit about. Not a bad guy.
John Castaneda? Really?
Of course, John Castaneda.
They're throwing him. It's because he has a UFC name, so they're going to use him as a stepping stone, and that's what promotions do.
Yeah,
It's very disrespectful, in my opinion.
Right, but George Garcia was one of those guys, and it was a good fight. It was a majority decision win for George Garcia. Appreciate it, Ryan. We appreciate all the love from everybody here. And it's just I love all the conversation going on.
Said, we're the Amanda Nunes champion in the featherweight UFC division because we have 5 other competitors that we're going to beat up all day.
I mean, we're by far better. I won't even name the other LFA content I've seen on YouTube.
I don't even know.
There was one other I've seen. There's one other I've seen, but I won't throw any barbs here. For me, George Garcia, he has kind of underrated stand-up, but obviously he's looking to implement not obviously, but to me, he's looking to implement his ground game, has a really strong rear naked choke, It's how he's gotten, I believe, 4 of his victories, if I remember correctly. 4 coming by rear naked choke, including against Willie Gates and Yuri Chobuka, who is Yuri Chobuka, 10-1 out of Uzbekistan or Ukraine. Sorry, out of Ukraine. He has not fought since facing George, so maybe after you face George, you're just different. I like George in this fight, but I think this is such a close, even fight that I'm worried that because George is the more well-known guy, higher profile guy, he might be a little juiced here. I haven't looked at the odds yet, but I'm leaning George initially. But I think this is such a close fight.
Yeah, this is like a prototype of each other, it looks like. They're both 30 years old. They're both 9-4 with 13 professional fights. It's like they're both 1-0 in LFA. Or sorry, George Garcia is making his LFA debut. Ricardo Diaz has that one LFA fight under his belt.
But like, M1 is solid. M1 is such a good organization. It's probably solid. Bigger than LFA.
Yeah, we've seen so many Russians. Even Nate Landwehr in the UFC competed in there. And I don't care what anybody says. That fight should have continued. If anybody knows Nate, he should have been stopped in such early fashion against Julian Erosa. But yeah, focus. We'll go George. I don't know. George Garcia. It just reminds me of MMA Junkies, Gorgeous George. He's been a long staple in the MMA media. So I wanted to make a post about that, just joking around. But he did lose his last fight. I'm pretty sure Ricardo lost his last fight too. So they're both. Or sorry, no. Ricardo's coming off 2 wins.
Yeah, but he lost a boxing bout, I think.
Ermison, he also lost to Ermison Oliveira, who looks like a decent competitor. It's just these two are so evenly matched. I do like George Garcia's opposition against highly ranked UFC competitors, even though it was a very brief ranked career for these UFC competitors. They were still in there, so you gotta hold that into some factor. He also lost to one of my favorite fighters of all time, Kyler Phillips.
That was a great fight. Great fight too. Fantastic.
Well,
2 or 3
how can you
minutes.
say that was a great fight? 2 minutes and 55 seconds. That's all it
was. If you had taken the time to do the research and watch the readily available video on YouTube,
that was 6 years ago.
It was a scramble
6 years ago.
And the interesting little fun fact about that, because I do my fucking work and do my 6 tape.
6 years ago. I know.
I don't care. Is that Kyler Phillips came out with a freestyle rapper rapping his entire entrance. So yeah, if for no other reason, just watch Kyler Phillips actually come out to a freestyle rapper who's like fighting out of MMA Lab, Phoenix, Arizona. Yeah, exactly. I got my girl to back me up here.
You got your hype girl too.
Oh, let's go. So if for no other reason than that.
Well, I don't want to give any secrets because I also sell my picks, so I'm not gonna.
Well, you know what? The best things in life are free. I'm just kidding.
But I do give my most 2 cents I can give.
And it is absolutely worth it. I am just absolutely I just woke up on
you gotta hype yourself up a bit. I know you dig in. I know you do your work.
And I know you do your work too, man. I'm just kidding. All right, next fight here coming at the heavyweight division between Vernon Lewis and Alejandro.
Can I get this out of the way right now?
You just ruined my intro, bro.
Alejandro Salazar. Sorry, is that what you're going to say?
It's Salazano. I was singing it as...
No. I just thought Vernon Lewis was like one of those 1990s heavyweights that came up in like Pride and the lower and like the pioneer divisions of the MMA.
If you're saying he looks like Bob Sapp, I agree with you.
Okay, he looks like Bob Sapp.
All right, yeah, that's all you had to say. So Alejandro Salarzano is known as the Goliath.
Alejandro. Sorry, you made me do it.
It's all good. I feel like you're upset because I kind of kind of owned you in the Kyler Phillips breakdown, and now you're trying to recover a little bit. He's rocked, but it's okay.
Sorry, I didn't watch a Kyler Phillips fight that was 6 years ago.
Hey, you know what? There's there's the cream and there's the crop. Alejandro is on a 7-fight win streak, 9-2 overall, 6'5" Mexican heavyweight. So I think we're gonna have some fun in this fight for sure. Also has fought in bare knuckle, where he got a stoppage in round 4. You don't see a lot of bare knuckle fights going that deep, so that's kind of cool. Has a second round finish in there, has a first round finish, hasn't fought the most notable of competition. Also lost a few times to guys I've never heard of as well. I really think this is just going to be a knockout, drag out fight, to be honest with you. Alejandro, I have to assume, fights like every Mexican heavyweight I've ever seen, which is wild. So, and just is going to go in there against Big E, Vernon Lewis, who's 37 years old, which is, kind of the middle of prime for a heavyweight. 6'3" heavyweight, fighting out of Relson Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. Not really familiar with that. Has a win over Austin Lane, who got knocked out by Greg Hardy on the Contender Series. Got a TKO ground and pound win there. Has fought in the LFA 4 times now. And he's 4-0 in LFA. Lost to Rudy Shalaforo, which is a decent heavyweight prospect over in Bellator. Other than that, he hasn't fought the most incredible competition. Has a win over Jared Vandera, which seems like every middling heavyweight does when you look at it, like Ricardo Odoms and shit. I think this one's just like kind of, these guys are going to meet in the middle. I think Vernon needs to look to make this a wrestling match and take it to the ground, use some grappling and get some ground and pound. Alejandro's on a 7-fight win streak. That's really impressive. Appears to have good gas going to decisions sometimes, going to 4 rounds in BKFC, although those are like 2 or 3 minute rounds. I'm not going to bet this fight. I'm not really looking to bet 2 lower level heavyweights, although Vernon Lewis, I would assume, is the favorite, being 4-0 in Bellator, having more of a variety of ways to use MMA.
4-0 in LFA.
Yeah. Sorry, it's not Bellator. 0-1 in Bellator, but 4-0 in LFA. Also has just the better competition he's faced, which we always like to rate higher in these kind of matchups. So my heart wants Alejandro. I don't know why, though, because I haven't really seen him, but I'll take Vernon Lewis kind of to eventually get this to the ground after being an entertaining start. Almost like the Kyler Phillips Garcia fight, which you can find on YouTube.
Yeah, this might be a sloppy fight, man. Like, we got 2 heavyweights that have not proven themselves yet. Hopefully, I want to throw this out here very quick. Last week on the UFC breakdown, Aaron said, bet the house on Tafon. I told everybody not to. And I want to just throw that out there right now.
Wow, we're bringing up old shit now. Wow. So, Mr. I'm not going to make fucking
3 days old. 3 days old.
Old shit. Wow.
3 days. Is that old?
Wow, dude. Excuse me as I get out from under that bus. Man, he is mad.
I'm not mad. I'm just saying.
Kid. Let's talk about that LFA. Fuck, you can wait another day. What the fuck?
Okay, maybe I should have waited till the UFC breakdown to bring this up.
Yeah, you just couldn't wait. Anything to say relevant about the LFA fight that people tuned in to hear about?
Yes, I do.
Go ahead.
You made this longer than I had to make it, but you said bet the house. I said don't bet the house. You wanted another podcast co-host, and I said just don't do it, guys. But some people had other ideas.
Anyways, I'm not sure where that's
heavyweight fight. This is a good heavyweight fight. I'm not gonna lie. This can say a lot because one of these guys might make it to the UFC one day. They're both decorated. They both have over 10 fights professionally. They both been in the game 10 years. So I'm really excited for this one. I'm a big Mexican Pride fan. This guy has shown Alejandro Solorzano. He's showed very little holes in his game. He's winning decisions dominantly. Vernon Lewis has a gas tank issue, I believe. He does have a few decision wins, but it's against lower level competition. Jared Vandera is I can't believe he's even in the UFC, to be honest. He got lucky in that Harry Hunsucker fight in the Contender Series. I don't think either of those guys should have even been in the UFC. Harry Hunsucker versus Jared Vanderera is a perfect LFA fight, in my opinion. But at the same time, Vernon Lewis has been there, done that, probably faced a better competition. I'm not, obviously I'm not making an official pick yet, but this is a low level, it is a fight that one of the competitors could come out with a very solid victory and make waves in the MMA heavyweight division.
Here's the thing is that when we say low level and heavyweight, almost everything outside of, the top is low level, even within the UFC. So saying with guys outside is a little redundant probably. And I just, got to thank the comment section for having my back here. I'm sorry I made a mistake with Teflon. I told you I felt like I was getting trapped into that price also. And, that was a lesson not to trust, but, got to trust the heart.
I know. It was only minus 140. And that Jamie Pickett fight was so impressive. I understand.
Well, and speaking of Jamie Pickett, we're going to have Jamie Pickett on tomorrow for the UFC breakdown ahead of his huge fight against Mr. Wright this weekend, Jordan Wright, where he is a pick'em price right now. So I'm in another Teflon situation where I feel I don't have a choice but to bet Jamie Pickett against a guy who doesn't like getting hit in Jordan Wright. I think this is Jamie Pickett.
What's his nickname? Jordan Wright's nickname? It's a good
Beverly Hills Ninja.
Yeah. You're obviously the movie guru, so.
Yeah. And and it's here we go. Last time I trusted my heart, Cerrone broke it. Which time are we talking about? The first time, the second time, the third?
He's so slow at this point. It's not his fault. It's not total Cerrone's fault. Everybody, Father Time is undefeated, guys.
Listen to this love. If this was a $100 paywall, it would be a steal. I mean, we easily make our listeners more than $100 a week if they actually listen to our betting advice.
We're gonna start a Patreon page.
Hey, you know what? We'll stay tuned for that because that may be coming in the
And by the way, Toronto Maple Leafs, King of the North. Look at this, King of the North, guys.
All right, and
just number listen. One. Even though I don't even watch NHL because it's not even a legitimate season, because the Canadian teams are facing the Canadian teams and the American teams are facing the American teams. That's probably the first time that's ever happened because of fucking COVID. And I don't take that into such high regard, but still, go Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yeah, just when in doubt.
Who's your favorite NHL team, Aaron?
It used to be the Red Wings before they became the Dead Wings.
Yeah, they really fell off.
Yo, you're making our audience concerned here, buddy.
No,
we got to calm down. We got to Aaron, please take the mic. Aaron,
please. Oh, sorry. Okay, I'll stop. I gotta go to the washroom anyway. So you start us off with the Jamaican.
Thank God,
the Jawaiian.
Thank God, bro. 40. All right. And he's gone. Holy shit, bro. We are all choosing violence tonight. First of all, thank you all for joining us. Loved all the banter in the comments. I love the support. Brandon, he's a special kind of Canadian, which is redundant. All Canadians are special. But we are on to the main event of the evening. Kamuela Kirk, the Jawaiian, taking on Agent Orange. I wonder why Daniel Swain is called Agent Orange. That's right, because gingers make their personality their hair color. I forgot that's a personality trait. I always forget. But Daniel Swain, 30 years old. Agent Orange is 5'9", 70-inch reach, fighting out of Warrior Camp MMA. Last fought in August of 2020 on the Contender Series, where he got stopped by TJ Laramie, which looked like an okay loss until we saw TJ Laramie enter the UFC and had a little bit of trouble with Derek Minner. But Daniel Swain was stopped with a rib injury in that one. I believe he also missed weight against DJ Laramie, but I won't know for sure till Mr. Wagers comes back. But Daniel Swain before that had a win by triangle armbar over Andre Karsinikov, probably one of his better wins. Has a win over a 12-3 guy in Misu Nubike. I obviously don't know how to say his name. Nathan Stolen did lose to Alex De Silva by finish. Julian Arosa by finish. When he loses, he gets an injury or gets finished for the most part. Guillotine choke against Kurt Southern. Got knocked down in 30 seconds. Went to a decision once in one of the losses, and then arm triangle choke. Kill or be killed for the most part for Mr. Swain. Doesn't go to a lot of decisions either. He's a very big 145er. Definitely has issues making the weight. So that's definitely something to keep an eye on as well. In this fight, Kamuela Kirk, definitely the more appropriate, cough, Canelo or Canelo. Yep, I hear you. Kamuela Kirk, 10-4, so 14 fights versus 31 fights. That's the first thing that stands out for me. The Jawaian fighting out of Siege MMA. He did fight on the Contender Series where he did get defeated by Billy Quantillo in the third round. Really good fight until then. Had a very close fight against Bruno Souza, which I kind of question the judging in that one. But he did end up on the short end of the stick in the split decision there. Then against Guilherme Santos, a guy who I really was not impressed with. He got caught quite a bit against him. That's one thing kind of about Kirk. He's very methodical, very kind of sometimes a slow starter, if you will. And in that fight, he definitely had to get kind of woken up by some shots by Santos, who did miss weight, but then he came back and put him away pretty impressively with some good kicks, good body kicks, as well as punches to put it away. Kirk also has a triangle choke finish of Kevin Kroom, who's gone on to win in the UFC and still is in the UFC. But besides that, not the most notable competition. I just think that Swain puts himself in much worse positions than Kirk puts himself in. And I think that Swain's going to need to get this down to the mat early to get a submission early. Otherwise, I think Kirk takes this one over. I'll take Kamuela Kirk, the Jawaian, by decision. I just think that his stand-up is much better. He'll be able to keep it off the ground. But Swain usually gets finished, so predicting a decision is kind of risky, honestly. But I do like Kirk overall, his skill set in this one. But Swain's faced a better competition, has doubled the amount of experience, but coming off a rib injury, had a leg injury in another fight recently. It seems like maybe a little bit of tread getting on those tires also compared to Kirk. So I'll take Kirk.
Yeah, Kirk has definitely faced the better competition, in my opinion. Kevin Kroom, he got a triangle over. We all know Kevin Kroom. He's a badass in the UFC, trained under James Krause. He did fall a little behind against Alex Caceres, but that's also Alex Caceres, 23-fight UFC veteran. So a bit of a step up in competition. Kamuela Kirk also lost to another UFC staple at this point, Billy Q. It was a round 3 knockout. And we all know Billy Q is known for his conditioning. So Billy's going to do that to you guys. And Daniel Swain, like you said, Agent Orange, which makes a lot of sense. He's got he's adopted 2 kids, and I think he has 3 of his own. So he has a full house of kids, and he probably has dogs, and it's Bills. I could just see a circus going on there. Kind of reminds me of Sam Elvey, because I know Sam Elvey has like six kids as well. So
Michael Chandler fighting this weekend adopted a kid as well. So a lot of adoptions in the event.
Michael Chandler, so Daniel Swain did have that loss to TJ Laramie, rib injury. He's also had a couple other kind of freak injuries, like a kick leg injury, a doctor stoppage. I can't believe how many times Daniel Swain has fought since he started competing. Like, he's already 30 fights in, 31 fights, and
Yeah.
he's only been he has been a professional for 11 years, so
He
I guess
also
that's
has some
almost
issues.
3
He
fights a
also has
year.
a lot of issues making the 145 weight class.
And we were talking about M1 earlier, and M1 is a very reputable division promotion. He went 3-1-1 in M1. He had
Yep.
that hiccup against TJ Laramie, who's in the UFC now. But Kamuela Kirk is you can't doubt this guy either. He's the Jawaiian. He's got Jamaica on his side. He's got Hawaii on his side. He comes from a great training camp. He's in good hands.
He's got the McGregor strut.
Yeah, he's got the McGregor strut. So it's hard to.
He believes in himself. There's a big belief on
Confidence is key in this sport, guys. Mm-hmm. Confidence goes a long way. But yeah, this is our main event. I'm very excited for it. I love seeing Daniel Swain back because I think he is a good competitor. And I've heard of Kamuela Kirk as well. He's how can you forget that name, the Jawaiian? Even though I just kept saying Jamaican, but he's the Jawaiian.
Yeah, it should be a really good fight. I'm confident in Kirk, but again, Swain is kill or be killed. So he is the kind of guy that if you're betting on him, you can come through looking very smart if he comes through. But if he doesn't, you're gonna feel stupid. That's my advice on him. And by the way, I'm sorry I forgot to do the odds on Alejandro Solorzano and Vernon Lewis. Vernon Lewis minus 185 money is coming in on Alejandro. Alejandro is plus 155 currently. I think that is the best dog of the night.
You think Alejandro might be the best dog?
I think Alejandro. I also think plus 200 on Ricardo Diaz is a very worthy line.
Yeah, people want to know your picks. I saw them in the comments. Just hit me up on MMA Wagers. I'll have my full picks. Hopefully they come out with a few prop odds. They usually don't though for LFA.
Yeah, usually they don't. And so there's no shade on what Brandon's doing. MMA Wagers is a very worthy package to check out. I've used it myself. And I think that he is definitely worth checking out. So check out Brandon over on MMA Wagers. I do not sell my picks, but I'm not judging those who do. My official picks for this card, Alan Begosso and Luciano Ramos. I got Alan Begosso, and I think that he ends up getting a finish, perhaps his first rear naked choke. Taylor Maldon, I'll take another submission over Amber Della Haran. Taylor Maldon, I just think, is the more accredited grappler, and that's probably where it goes. James Wilson, I'll take over Daniel Jefferson in the battle of seeing these guys for the first time, but I'll take James Wilson. Jordan Heiderman versus Anthony Garrett. I'm going to take Anthony Garrett here. I'm going to take him to catch him in the first round and put him away. And I just think that at a certain point in the heavyweight division, size can matter. I'm going to take my shot here with Anthony Garrett and maybe really regret it. George Garcia and Ricardo Diaz. I think this is going to be a very close fight, possibly fight of the night. And I do see it going to a decision. Maybe both guys' names are being said at one point in a split type of decision. But I'll take Garcia, but we'll see. Vernon Lewis versus Alejandro Solorzano. I'm back and forth on this one. I do hope that it just kind of stays in the range of kind of the boxing and a little bit sloppy. So I'll take Alejandro the dog as my pick. I might have even said Vernon Lewis earlier in this breakdown. I'm really waiting until the weigh-ins to fully solidify that pick, if I'm being honest. And then I like Kamuela Kirk a lot in the main event as well over Daniel Swain. I think Daniel Swain has to get a finish to win. I think otherwise Kirk can get the finish or the decision. I think it's getting good momentum in his career. So those are my picks. Hopefully in about 25 minutes here or so, if you're watching us live, you can come on back and we'll be interviewing Mr. Brendan Lounghane of PFL, who's coming off a huge knockout of Shaman Marias over in PFL, got knockout of the night there. We absolutely cashed him as a minus 175 favorite there in a spot that he should have been double. So we're going to get to talk to him a little bit. He has a fight coming up here in about 3 weeks. And then we're back tomorrow at 3:30 Eastern for our UFC breakdown show. We always break down the UFC, and this weekend it's still a really, really good card. Beneil Dariush and Tony Ferguson, and headlined by the lightweight title fight now that it is vacated between Charlie Oliveira on a 7-fight win streak, taking on Michael Chandler, who
don't forget about Edson Barboza
versus Shane Burgos in a fight of the year candidate. And we're going to be joined by Jamie Pickett, who is fighting on the card. He'll be joining us at least at the beginning for a little bit. We'll get to talk to him in the middle of a weight cut, which is always an interesting spot to talk about. He's taking on Jordan Wright this weekend, and it's currently a -110 each side. I know I picked Tefon and Nchukwu, and I was all excited about that -140. I'm more excited about.
You really made me fucking discredit John Young Sung in that fight. You really made me discredit him.
Well, I didn't make you do anything. You're your own man. I
know, but I'm easily persuaded, and the way you were talking, I'm like, oh man, he's so confident. But well, I knew. If anybody max bet, it's a Jessica I purchasing client.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not the first time one of my more confident picks will be wrong, and it won't be the last time.
Marcos was my most confident.
But well, we can all say it. We all can say it afterwards very easily. But
well, you heard me. I said don't bet Maurice Green. I said right off the bat, don't bet Maurice Green.
That's correct. Okay. Well, I don't like to go.
We're gonna go Brendan Lounghane in about 20 minutes, guys. I'm excited. It's going to be about 10 to 15-minute interview. It's not going to be anything long. Just a few questions, and
they know what interviews are. For Aaron and Brandon, take care of each other out there, everybody. Thank you all for joining us.
Peace.